Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, great recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means share it with anybody you think might get something out of it. Other than that, how we doing today, guys? I'm wet. It is a nasty rainy day here in Boston, and that's all right. I worked all day. Fortunately, most of my work was it was a lot of service calls, so it was indoor work, but just getting out of the truck, running the supply houses, running around. It was just a very very wet day. But I guess we needed it after that crazy heat spell we just had. So it's what it is, man. Like that's where acceptance comes in. Again, living the serenity prayer in my life. It's weather, man. It is what it is. It'll be hot again next week, and that's okay. Now, more importantly, I'm incredibly proud to announce that today being July 7th, I have officially reached 18 months of continuous sobriety, and that's amazing to me. That feels really cool. I'm excited, right? I'm going to go get a new key tag this weekend, Friday night and Sunday morning maybe, or one or the other, or both. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, so it's a good day to reflect a little bit, when I look at the differences in my life today and, 18 months. And again, like you think about 18 months, it doesn't seem like that long a time. And it's really not in the scheme of things. I mean, I'm 53 years old. It's ridiculous. It took me 53 years to put 18 months of sobriety together. But that's is what it is. I suffer the disease of addiction, and I stayed out there longer than most and went deeper than most. And it's why I'm so incredibly grateful today. That in my higher power, and I'm incredibly blessed today. Further, I got some information yesterday. I got signed up for the last 4 classes I have to do for the reinstatement, and beautifully and fortunately, 3 of them, the ones that are a repeat that I've already done 3 times, they're allowing me to do online, and I can go at my own pace, which is considerably faster than the class pace. It's you have to it plays, it's online, but you have to hit play, do each page of each module. So I can only speed it up so much, even though I've gone over this over and over again. But I suspect it'll be a lot faster. I just did the first module, and I think about 45 minutes, and I think if I remember correctly in class it was like 2 hours. So if I'm cutting the time in half, I'll be really happy with that. But more importantly, I'm not missing time from work. I do have to take 1 class in person. That's the chronic offenders class, and I was pretty surprised when they mentioned before that they even had that class, and I wasn't required to do it. I'm like, if anybody's got to reach chronic offender status, that's me. And I'm not saying that to boast or brag. I'm just being realistic. And sure enough, I do have to go take the chronic offenders class. That is a week from today. So if I get these 3, and I will get these 3 classes done, during the 3 online ones done this week, then next Tuesday I can do that class. It takes the registry 4 days to get it in the system. So by the end of next week, I can get back to where I was, which should be fully reinstated, putting the device in my truck, and getting my full license back. And God, is that a surreal thing to be saying again. I know I thought I was there a while ago, but that's okay. Things happen, and I'm proud of myself for stepping right back up, because these are the things that are always, like, every time something like this happened in the past, I'd throw my hands in the air and not come back at it for another couple of years until I just, it's never going to happen, and give up. I don't give up today. I go after what's important to me. I have faith in myself that I can do it, and I have faith in my higher power, and I ask God for the strength and the guidance to get me there, and that's made all the difference, because when you're aligned with your higher power, you're doing good things, so you're deserving of good things, and you're communicating with God, then you understand that, yes, you have the strength and the resources and the knowledge and the power and the ability and the opportunity to do anything, so long as it's something good, and you're willing to go out and earn it. And I'm putting a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of effort into getting reinstated, so I'm earning it, and it's as simple as that. I ask God every day for everything in my life, in very open-ended ways, because I understand I'm still early enough in recovery that I don't always see what's best for myself. I've come a long way in that department, but I still know I suffer from very limited thinking, and it's grown way, way bigger and much more beautiful through working the steps, communicating with God, being in recovery, and just showing up for life and doing good things. But I still don't put limits on things, or like I'll go after something in an area, but I leave it very open-ended, and I allow God to guide me through the experiences and the opportunities and the signs, and just the experiences of my day-to-day to let me know where I think things are going, because I know I want to do good, and I want to do something big, I want to do something good. I don't necessarily know what that's going to look like, and I know if I try to put too tight of a picture on it, then I'm just gonna mess something up, and miss out on the rich, beautiful experiences that come along with it. And I hope that makes sense, because it makes a lot of sense to me. So the reading today is actually something a fellow recovery member, Mark, sent me as a text yesterday morning. He occasionally sends me different meditations and prayers, and I really like this one. Ask and You Shall Receive is the title. I don't know where it came from, so I can't give credit, but it's still a beautiful reading. Let's get into it. Ask and ye shall receive. Never let yourself think that you cannot do something useful, or that you will never be able to accomplish a useful task. The fact is that you can do practically anything in the field of human relationships, if you are willing to call upon God's supply of strength. Now, that supply may not be immediately available, because you may not be entirely ready to receive it, but it will surely come when you are properly prepared for it. As you grow spiritually, a feeling of being plentifully supplied by God's strength will possess you, and you will be able to accomplish many useful things. And then it comes with a prayer. The prayer for the day is, I pray that I may claim God's supply of strength by my faith in Him. I pray that it shall be given to me according to my faith. And it's kind of a short reading, guys, and it's okay, because if it's a shorter video, I'm in the middle of my class anyway, so I'll get back and hopefully get that done tonight. But, that's something, like, literally I read that and I'm like, it brings me right back. If you haven't had a spiritual awakening yet, keep going, man. It was something that came very early on for me, and it completely changed my life. Like I said, I felt so incredibly, terminally isolated, terminally unique, so hopeless, so full of despair. I had made the same mistakes over and over again so much that I just thought there was a mental defect in my brain, and like these are literally the things that we come to when we're running on a self-will, and then when we're doing drugs and doing bad things. And I don't know anybody that has come into the halls of recovery that hasn't been beaten up enough by addiction that they did things they just like. I look at some of the things that I've done, and I'll try and keep it in the eye. I look at some of the things that I've done, and I'm so ashamed. I mean, we're gonna get vulnerable and honest here. I still don't go back to my hometown, because I'm just, I keep in contact with some people through social media, but I burnt my name to the ground and did so many just terrible things there that I just don't go back there. There's nothing there for me. I suspect there's still a lot of good friends that know I'm doing well now and be different, but just like I'm just still not mentally ready. And I've been gone from my hometown for 12 years now, and I just, I have no desire to go back there. Further, Waltham, the place I lived homeless, I won't go back there. I'll drive through there, I'll go pick something up there, but I don't go like hang out and go have dinner in Waltham, because I don't even want to see that city anymore. That was the lowest point of my life. Like, these are the places, the traumas, and that just shows me that I still have unprocessed trauma. But again, I'm 18 months in. That's okay. I don't rush things either. Like, if I feel like I don't need to go somewhere, I don't go somewhere. And if something comes up and I need, and I want to, like, say I want to go back and explore Medway one of these days, I will sit down and I will pray on it, and I will meditate on it, and I'll ponder it and say, is this something I'm going back there to prove to myself that I can, and risk, unnecessary confrontations and walking away feeling like shit, or is there a reason for it? Like, I drive through there, go into my brother's houses, and I go spend time with family and help family out, and things of that nature. But so I will ponder, and I will do so in prayer and meditation, because that's where I get the best ideas and direction and answers from. So that's just a small example. I'm not even sure where we're going with that, but anyway, it's just one of those things. Further, what I do is I focus on my new life, and I look at where I live now and here in Somerville, Mass. So random. As a matter of fact, I was talking about this last Friday night when I spoke, and I'm looking back on it, and I'm like, yeah, that's really. If you don't think there's a God at play in your life, let me give you a little heads up on this, right? I look at Somerville as being the biggest blessing that's ever happened in my life. Like being brought here has changed everything for me. As soon as I got here, I met Doug, got into the field that I'm in, and it was like I said, I started out sweeping floors and vacuuming dust. I mean, and now I'm running a business, I'm running his business, and those 10 years. But let me tell you how I got here. I was homeless. I had pissed off a probation officer. I had pretrial probation on a nothing case. It was like, getting a TV from Rent-A-Center and not paying for it. And then I think I had a simple possession charge. So I was on pretrial probation, and I got into it with my probation officer. I would never show up for court. I'd talk and manipulate my way out of being locked up, and then I'd just go on the run again. And after not showing up one of these times, they literally put together a task force, and I suspect it was because my probation officer tried to get me locked up, and I was fully accepting I was going to be locked up, but then he just started going over the top, and I didn't complain when he was saying any things that were true, because it was plenty. I didn't show up, I didn't report, I wasn't calling in, I wasn't taking my drug test, like all these things were true. But then he says to the judge, oh, Mr. Kelly didn't sign the release form for his Suboxone doctor. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And I wouldn't accept being lied upon. I'm like, you're burying me, legit. Like, you don't need to lie. And we went back and forth in the court. And finally the judge is like, whoa, calm down. He's like, you know what, we're going to put this on hold. I want to see which one of you is lying to me. And I'm like, Your Honor, I signed the release. And sure enough, half an hour later, now again, he would have held me, and I wouldn't argued with it. Half an hour later, they bring me back up, and he's like, yep, sure enough, he signed the release, Mr. Kelly. I'm going to let you go on your own personal recognizance. And I had no intention of walking out of court that day. And boom, I went back on my run, and I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. But that when I didn't show up for the next court date, and I didn't check in next, the probation officer called in every resource he had, and next thing you know, there's a 14 officer task force running around Waltham hunting me down. So I had to leave, and I ended up in Boston, and I didn't have any resources. I didn't have a soup kitchen. I didn't have, anything. So I wasn't eating, and I was just hustling, and it gotten really, really uncomfortable. I met a guy one night who gave me some money to drive him around. And that says a lot for this guy's character, because I was not the person you want to hire as your chauffeur, right? Anyway, one thing leads to another, and he needs to get rid of me for an hour. He drops me off at a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. This is a point to the story. He drops me off at a Narcotics Anonymous meeting in Arlington, and the gentleman who is now my sponsor happened to be getting, he's got 10 years, mind you, happened to be getting his 6-month chip that night, and I'm sitting in there, and I'm high as a kite, and I'm a mess, and I'm just, where am I going to get my next drug? Where am I going to go? What if this guy doesn't come back, pick me up? Where am I? What's Arlington? I was in dire straits. But I heard his message, and a spark was, a seed of a spark was planted in me, right? So, boom, on I go. The guy picks me up. I get through another week, and Friday night rolls around again, and he does the same thing. Hey, let me jump you back off at that meeting again. I think he just knew I was on drugs and needed some help, and he was hoping I'd, hear a message, and I did. So I went back to that meeting again, and I walked out of that meeting, and he didn't show up this time to pick me up, and I walked about, 500 yards up the road, and I was just dog tired, but already I did not want to go hustle. Like, I was heading the wrong way to where I'd go hustle for drugs. I was just going to lay down, and I didn't have any more drugs, and I knew I was going to be sick, and but I just, the message in that meeting, seeing others be filled with hope, was enough to make me say, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but let me do something. So God got to me through other people. And again, the only logical conclusion, having a task force running around trying to get you, was to get locked up. So, and I didn't purposely do so, but I walked up the street, I found a gas station. It was a big, 73 Buick Riviera in the parking lot that was unlocked, and I just climbed into the back seat and went to sleep, because I hadn't laid down or slept in God knows how long. And I woke up the next morning to the garage or gas station attendee looking in the back seat and going, what are you doing? And then he, boom, throws his hand up. There's a cop in the parking lot across the street, pulls in. I have warrants out for my arrest. Boom, I get locked up for the weekend. They treated me decent. They fed me. They brought me to Waltham Court Monday morning. I get in front of the judge. The judge says, Mr. Kelly, what do you want to do with this? I say, Your Honor, lock me up. Give me the 6 months. He's like, it's not a 6-month charge. I'm like, Your Honor, we both know I need 6 months in jail to clean up because, I was in the deep throes of addiction. So when I did, I went and the whole time I was in that 6 months, I fought hard to get to a halfway house that was near that Arlington meeting because I wanted to get back to that meeting, and I did. I found the Casper House here in Somerville, and boom, God working through other people planted me right in Somerville. I met Doug within weeks. I got back. I went to that meeting. That same gentleman who's now my sponsor, my friend Tim, I don't think he'll mind me using his first name, was getting his 1-year chip the first night that I showed up, and I'm like, oh my God, like what a God shot, right? And unfortunately, I started going to that meeting regularly. I brought a bunch of guys from the house. We loved that meeting. I still love that meeting. It's the Friday night meeting that I spoke on last Friday night, though it's moved locations. And unfortunately, I put life before recovery, and as bad as everything had been in my life and as good as my life had become, I still ended up going back out for another 8 years until I came back in for this round. But how beautiful is it that as soon as I surrender and get back in recovery, again, not when I wanted it or was looking for it, but when I was ready for it, I think I was right around the 1 year mark, or just before the 1 year mark. That same gentleman, Tim, comes back into my life, finds me at my meeting. And they changed locations. I couldn't find the NA meeting. But I find the meeting, I find Tim again. I ask him to be my sponsor because then I look at the reality of it. Like, he's one of the biggest reasons I'm even in the city. I talk about God working through other people. I hadn't felt like I had a home since I started getting arrested so many times in Medway that I couldn't show my face around town. And I could, but I was driving illegally, so I couldn't. Just the whole nonsense. I won't even get into that. It's already starting to get late. But when you try to live a spiritual life, you will be amazed at the signs and synchronicities and the way things are just brought into your life and the way God works through other people. And it's absolutely, truly, truly blessed. And I think on my 18th anniversary was a good day for a God and asking for God's strength. And I do all the time, guys, and I receive it. More importantly than asking, I do my part every day. I try to be a good person. I try to make a difference in the world. I try to be the best contractor to my customers. I try to be attentive to my fellow recovery. I try to bring a good energy to the channel. I try to bring a good energy everywhere. I try to do everything to the best of my ability. I try to be as faithful and open-minded and honest as I possibly can. And I ask God for his strength every day. And I look at the strength that I get, the things that I'm able to accomplish, and the opportunities that I'm given in my life. And I know full well God is answering. He's heard every prayer. Whether it was, removing the negativity from my heart or just opening a business. Like every beautiful thing I have in my life today is absolutely God-given. And that makes me feel amazingly appreciated. So give spirituality a shot. Give recovery a shot. Give yourself a shot. Sorry, I'm getting the allergy voice again here. And that's okay too. Guys, it's a beautiful day. I'm going to get back to my class so I can get these things done because, again, I have another opportunity to put this final vestige of wreckage from my past behind me and still have a chance to get it done this month. So I'm going to get back to doing my class. I will post a short here in a minute. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.